Welcome everybody to tonight's live stream. I was working on this next one, behind Satan's veil of deception, because there's a veil of deception that is going on because the devil lurks unseen. He has a plan, he has a hierarchy, he has human assets ready to carry out this plan, this deception, this veil of deception. And it is an insidious thing once you see it, calling evil good and good evil and good evil and evil good and all those things here. I just get myself back online here. And so we're going to look at that. This is part 9 of the occult series. I'm going very slow and methodical in this, because it's a new way to look at things. Because what we're seeing in the world today is how the result of the occult working. Some people will say, "Oh no, you're crazy. That can't be. That can't be at all." No, it is, because we're witnessing it right now. We're witnessing wokeism. We're witnessing some crazy stuff. We have elections in this country coming up. Other countries are suffering the same thing, where why is your national heritage and your history being erased? Why is your family being erased? Why does everything have to be just this one size fits all? Why is there a push to demonize over half the country or your entire country's citizenry as enemies of the state? What is going on? What is this rules-based world order they're talking about, or this liberal world order they're talking about? Why are they're divided up into 10 economic trade zones, or kingdoms, which Europe is, I think, one, and then there's Mexico, United States, and Canada is the other, and there's 8 more around the world. Not everybody is happy about it, and they're resisting it. This is what you're seeing is a push pull yin yang thing of chaos in order to produce a new order of the age. It's all about that. It's about a world of total control and being placed under the one to come, whom we call in the Bible the Antichrist. The Antichrist is, in the Christian tradition, which I'm from, I'll try to explain this to you, is seen in Daniel, uh, in the book of Daniel, as seen as the man of sin, as the lawless one, as they call him in the Old Testament times. And he is going to be a miracle worker. He's going to come up with a small group of people, and he's going to just step. The small group of people are going to prepare the world for his arrival. Do we have evidence of that? Yes, we have evidence. There is a small group of people doing this, and we have it through the documents of theosophy. Theosophy is the cerebral form of Gnosticism, white magic, the white brotherhood, the white lodge, whatever you want to call it. And there's different various levels in that. I don't have time to go through all the nuances of what all that means. But what they're doing is they help found, Foster and Alice Bailey helped found the UN, help get the UN going off the ground. They also helped put together the UN Charter. uh, H.G. Wells' book, The New World Order, parts of it was used for the rights to state the rights of man in it. And so the UN was going to be this organization that was the stepping stone for a small group of people to come into the world. Will the UN exist in a few years? I don't know. It can change and go. It can disappear like the League of Nations did, and something else is going to take its place. We really don't know all that much what will happen in the future. Nobody does. And so we're looking at all this stuff, and we're saying, what is this stuff going on? Why, you have the evidence. You have the Lucius Trust, which was used to be called Lucifer Publishing way back in the day, and they changed their name to Lucius Trust, which is Alice Bailey's or Theosophy's organization. Headquarters is next to the UN building. They have a meditation room there. They have in the UN. They have a library in the UN as well, and you have evidence of this. I went through the past. I showed you evidence. I think it's 625, whatever street that was, in San Francisco, on Market Street, whatever. The Bohemian Club, the Bohemian Grove people that meet, these high government officials and corporation and businessmen. They all meet, and they have midnight summer dream on in the woods and stuff, and they sacrifice to child care, and They have a big elaborate ceremony of that, just conjuring in that building. They put on plays every 2 weeks, which helps them. It's just for channeling purposes. So a lot of what you see in sports arenas, sports events, at halftime shows, our music venues, not all music venues, but a lot of concerts and stuff. Uh, you'll see satanic emblems and things like the Tower of Babel image. You'll see, um, uh, you'll see at the Nottingham games a few years ago, they're riding a big mechanical bull, and this woman was imitating the scarlet woman wearing scarlet, the prostitute of Babylon the Great, and all these people dancing around. You see these people at high positions of power and authority, heads of state attending the Gotthard Tunnel ceremony, which is pure satanic back in 2015. You know, and it goes on and on and on. I mean, I was watching a ball game and a halftime show, and it was it was satanic, and it's just there's no other way to put it, and patriotism, loving your country, being a good person is frowned upon. You are an enemy of the state. You love and support the right to be able to live and let live. You are an enemy. No, no, you have to follow this narrative. They are people in high places who are into this stuff. They're hiding behind Satan's veil of deception. And I want to tell you, folks, this that people who had, let me try to rephrase it. People who have escaped cults will tell you that they didn't set out to join a cult, okay? Cults instead to prey on victims. In other words, they go fishing for them. And they reel them in by playing on a person's natural instincts, natural desire to feel belonging, to feel like they belong to something. They feel some compassion. They find a purpose and meaning to life. They find something bigger than themselves. There's nothing wrong with that. That's a natural tendency. But the devil perverts that and uses that to reel in people, reel them in like a like fish, and offer them purpose and a desire to belong and meaning to life. Because cults offer strong, familiar family. What do I call it? Family and social bonds, which are preferable to living in broken homes, broken relationships, broken families, mean spirited people, um, living in all constant fear, feelings of alone, like you're an outcast, feelings like you have no purpose in life. You have no ability to make any dent in life, and you feel stuck in the mud. So the devil will reel these types of people in. So that's what they do. So cults offer to fill the voids of life by showering upon them exciting, larger than life attachments, along with many positive affirmations about self, and then the secret cult knowledge that makes one feel very special is offered to them, and you get hooked into it. And cults offer veils of love bombing or love and affirmation of self-worth. They give you a value, and you have a special inclusiveness with an elite group that's out to move and shake the world. All one must do is to attend a few meetings and read their literature and follow along. And guess what? The cult of Luciferianism is no different. Okay. So that begs the question, what is Luciferianism? Luciferianism is a system of beliefs. It has various sects and denominations in it. Um, I don't know, I count it about 10 or 12. I mean, it keeps growing and it shrinks and it grows. But for the sake of this video, I'm only dealing with one specific group, not all of them. And I can get into to Anton LaVey's Satanism, or the modern version of Satanism of individualism and all that. But the sales job is the same: an attachment to a group, to feel like you belong to something larger than yourself. You may come from a broken home, you may come from a perfect home, but you're out in the world and you feel all alone, and this offers a sense of power to you, a will to achieve power and control your life in some way, and makes you feel good because you think you're doing humanity a favor by following Luciferian thought. They really do, because you're out to save the world, save the planet, and do all these good things. You're looking out for the betterment of humanity, a world without fear, no fear of God in the world. And I talked to Luciferians and non-Luciferians and atheists and agnostics, and debated them online and stuff. Through an apologetic site that I was a moderator on. And what's amazing is that they all talk about the fear of God, and they don't even know what the fear of God is. The fear of God simply is the awesome respect of who God is compared to who you are, and that's it. And but they interpret fear as a controlling, dominating, psychopathic parent. And you fear them walking in. If you make a mistake, they're going to bash you over the head. That's not God. That's the wrong kind of fear. Now, the healthy fear of God is a healthy respect for Him, who He is, and uh, and also know that you will be held to account, and that He did pay a way to break that account, so it's not held to your account by what Jesus Christ did on the cross. And so you learn to trust Him that way. God, you respect God because He gives you a choice. No other religion really gives you, or gives you a choice. It's either their way or the highway. It's like, hey, you can accept Christianity and Jesus, or you can reject them. It's on you. That's all we can do is present it, and you believe it. You're free to go your way. I'm free to go to mine. And I don't know, that's pretty much what true biblical Christianity does. And so it's quite different than the fear of the Lord is quite different in true biblical Christianity than what people think it is, a pure religion and beating people over the head. So what Luciferians do, as well as agnostics and atheists, and I did this too as an agnostic and atheist, especially if when I was going through my agnostic stage when I was younger, and I get around church people, I'd say, well, yeah, I'm spiritual, just to bat them off so I don't have to listen to them preach to me or something. and But I also notice when Luciferians talk, they also talk about how spiritual they are, but they have a really condescending smirk about them, and it's an ugly thing to see. So it's very difficult to tell who is a Luciferian, who because it's a secret. It's the occult. It's covered over in mass because you can't really tell, and unless they tell you. Some folks have told me. I ran into a church within a 50-mile radius of my house. Well, my wife and I stumbled into it. I don't know if it's still there or not. I hope not. But it was a bunch of it was New Age Christianity masquerading as Orthodox Christianity, but it was a Luciferian cult infiltrating Christendom, and they're very cult-like. That's all I gotta say. And it gave those people a sense of belonging. My wife and I got the heck out of Dodge out of that. That was a weird place. It was a weird, bizarre place. And I don't know if it exists now. I've never been back. I don't want to go back. I won't tell anybody where it is either. But when they tell you that they're Luciferian and what they believe, and you're taken aback, you're thinking that they are out there doing human sacrifices and all that stuff. No, most of them are doing altruistic, humane works. But um, when I'm studying Luciferianism, I came across a guy named Michael Ford. I do not recommend Michael W. Ford. I recommend nobody read his writings. Don't. And because when I was reading his writing or saw one of his videos just to put it on to hear him talk, he's talking dragon talk. He's he's conjuring when he's talking. When he's talking, he's conjuring. It is a certain tone. Reminds me what the demonic world does in hell. And eh, and he's I call a black magic type of dude. And you want to stay away far from him. And he's very prominent in those circles. And there's others, they write these Gilmores and all these other stuff. Gilmores, how to set plan, how to do this, that, and the other, cast spells, whatever. Stay away from that. Let people who the Lord give the ability to do the research. let them do it. Because I trust the Lord. When the Lord says, don't listen to Michael Ford, forget it. I stopped. No more of that. That's out the window. Don't read his stuff anymore. Don't even look at it because it's dragon speak. When I say the same with the what I wrote in the bottom for my sources, that be very careful if you go to those sites. Just be very careful because it's dragon speak. It sounds so good. They offer you the world, the sky, the moon. You make you feel good. It's a cult to hook you in, reeling you in, and at the detriment, you'll lose your soul. So the group that I'm mentioning fishes for souls of men and women by implanting seed groups into all the cultural mountains of influence to initiate all humanity into a Luciferian philosophy. That's the role of the group I'm speaking of at the top of the pyramid seen from last week's show. Okay, let me go ahead and do a quick review of this. So you have the very few at the top, and this is the back of our dollar bill. This is the very few at the top. Um, they have the all-seeing eye. That's the all-seeing eye of knowledge. That's the all-seeing eye of illumination from Lucifer. Okay, it's not Lucifer's eye. It's the eye of illumination, and that is being dispensed by the people in that floating part of the pyramid, separated from the other pyramid. That's the people I am talking about. They are disseminating Luciferian light. Lucifer is either behind that pyramid or just above it. I saw several things that convinced me of that. So you have very few at the top. This is the group I'm talking about. They're heavily into it, and these are the movers and shakers. They're the ones that are at the top of the food chain. Okay, they're the ones there. I have this other diagram down here I put on here where I have two Luciferian eyes. That's on sections 1 and 2. That's the floating part. They're the true Luciferians. They're dispensers of a Luciferian illumination. What for? To set up the stage for the Antichrist to appear by taking over all the cultural mountains of influence and initiate the groups below them into Luciferian thought, to accept the coming one to come, as Alice Bailey said, the silent watcher to come, the one who is going to whom the whole world waits, who is almost sinlessly perfect, who is basically, according to ancient pagan religions, would be the sun deity, Shamash or Yud in Mesopotamian lore, who would rise and rule the world once more. And for some reason, they're trapped in the abyss, but the occult world never really tells you why they're stuck in this place. But go figure. But the Bible tells you why. In fact, the book of Enoch, first Enoch, tells you that they were assigned into the abyss. The book of Jasher, other, um, they're not canonical, not Bible canon, but research tools of ancient text will give, or the book of the giants will tell you kind of what's going on, and that are found recently in the Dead Sea Scrolls. So you have the Luciferian number 2 initiates. They're the key influencers, the head leaders over seed groups, the infiltrates leadership's positions in all the cultural mountains of influence, and they plant below that the seed groups, and those who and so I'll go back to this one. So they dispense the Luciferian knowledge, and this is their purpose. The very few at the top, and that and Copus means he has favored our undertakings. Who? Lucifer. Their undertakings to use the bricks below to build a novus ordinum seclorum, a new order of the ages. That's what it's about. They want to build a new order of peace, prosperity, plenty, no war. It sounds great. Clean water, clean air. That's the bill of goods they sell. But who can say anything against that? But that's dragon speak. The cost that's behind it is your identity as a human being, your liberties, your freedoms, your ability to reason and think for yourself. You're going to turn it over to an ultra national organization who's going to govern the world, control what you buy, sell, and eat. And you're going to receive a mark according to the Revelations chapter 13 there. And you have to serve and worship the beast system, the beast. I mean, that's what they're going for, folks. And that is exactly that's who I'm talking about. And so just as Theosophists, Alice Bailey states in this next slide, this is who they are. And it gives you an idea. I read this last time too. We're kind of going a little review here. Alice Bailey and Treaties of White Magic, online PDF 194, 195. Says, it is a group that has no esoteric organization of any kind, no headquarters, no publicity, no group name. Now, I disagree with that because they have a headquarters by the UN building, but they do now. They meet in groovy groves in the redwoods. They meet in islands in the Caribbean and islands all over the world, at ranches and people's houses. Like John Podesta said that to Hillary, are you coming to the spirit cooking ceremony? They're all over the place, but they're very secretive, and they come off as knights in shining armor. They're very helpful. It reminds me of covert narcissists. I worked with plenty of them in the jail. Now, oh, there's one guy I remember was so nice, just doing everything for you, and then he come up and goes, I would like a watch with someone, I have a watch in my intake, so stuff. I like to have it. It has a little phone on it. Can you bring it to me? No, I report you. I'm sorry, I had to AdSeg you. You're locked down for a couple of days for trying to bribe me. Sorry, Charlie. I mean, these people are very, very good at it, but in a jail setting, it's much easier to deal with them than it is in real life. They're overly helpful, over the top. It is almost sickening. It is. And that's how Luciferianism is, just like that. Just very conning, very covert and narcissistic. And they're always doing it out for your betterment, looking out for as long as you agree with them, everything is fine. And if I would have agreed with that guy to get him his thing because he tried to butter me up, I would have been in jail. Heck no, Charlie, I ain't doing that. That's Luciferianism. They want to entrap you to put you in the lake of fire. Okay? So let's look at this. No headquarters, no publicity, no group name. In other words, all she's saying, they're very secretive about it. You can't find out who they are. But look on the dockets and stuff, you'll find out who they are, who attends what meetings. It is a band of obedient workers and servers of the word, obedient to their own souls and to the group need. All true servers everywhere therefore belong to this group, whether is cultural, political, scientific, religious, philosophical, psychological, or financial. They constitute part of the inner group of workers for humanity of the world mystics, whether they know it or not. They will be thus recognized by their fellow group members when contacted in the casual ways of a world discourse, dialogue, meeting with people. They will know who they are because they share the same thing. They talk the same game. And guess what? Interesting. I lost my signal there. Hope you all heard me there. It came back on. So that's what those people are. That's who they are. And if I have to edit this and add it later, I will. That was weird. My internet signal's been going out all day. So I guess there's some other problems going on in the world, precluding the solar flares or something, they say. Anyway, sorry about that loss of stream, but that's what we're looking at. This is a small. Wow, I keep losing my stream. I hate this. I hate this. Just pray that I find another internet provider. Hallelujah. Okay, where was I? This is a small leading group. They know who they are. They'll meet each other. They speak the same language, lingo. They hang out with each other at the Davos and places like that. They're the upper ranks of the Luciferian cult. So the upper ranks believe they are building a perfect world free of war, There'll be no disease. It'll be a place of peace, safety, and security. It'll be all about sustainability, global cooperation, protecting the future generations. I read some of the Rockefeller things to you, the Rockefeller Sustainability Report, programs of action and stuff, how they define sustainability as eradication of poverty and environmental conditions by eradicating. Um, Sorry, folks. Um, I may have to stop this video, can it, and start all over again later. I don't know what I'm going to do. I hate doing that, but I just can't stand when everything doesn't work. Just pray for me. Heavenly Father, in the name of Jesus, I'm dropping signal. Could you please, in the name of Jesus, let this go? I mean, go on to educate people and warn them about what's coming about to hit them, and they don't even know. Most of the church world doesn't. Could you just spare this from being constantly interrupted by these breaking streams? I don't understand why it is. uh, um, I don't like it. So what I was trying to say is that you have a small upper ranks of Luciferianism. They believe they are building this perfect world of no war, no disease, a place of peace, safety, security, sustainability. Is about global cooperation, protecting the future generations, all maintained by group love that's based upon enforced group conformity, used to maintain group control. That is the Theophysist terms, not mine, by a ruling upper class over all humanity who decides who lives, who dies, what you eat, have a bug sandwich. You know the drill. If you've been following me and other people who talk about this, they want you to eat bugs. Okay, because they are the special, they are the elite. They have elite schooling. They have achieved super success in business and finances. They are in governmental positions of power and also infiltrate their agencies. They're all marching by just one tune, a move to a liberal rules based order. It is called the neocons. It's called the uniparty. That's who you're looking at. Does that mean that every one of them are Luciferians? No, just a few at the top are. They infiltrate, they'll recruit from the ranks below into their upper echelons. But by and large, they hook people by get them into this cult without them knowing it. We're all about peace, safety, security, sustainability, save the waters, global cooperation, protecting future generations. Um, in order to do this, the elites have to control everything for equity's sake. In other words, it's required for the serfs to pay back all they're consuming. So they have to give up everything, own nothing, as Klaus Schwab would say. You own nothing and you'll be happy. You will own nothing. America will no longer be a superpower. All these things. You own nothing. But for equity's sake, because you got to give, you got to turn over your country to a horde of people who cross your border, who shouldn't even be here, who are harming your nation. But that's equity. They deserve it because you did too much consuming and took from them, and now you got to give them their uppums. You got to pay it back. But do the elites believe in equity? No. If they believed in equity, Jesus handled this guy who believed in that type of equity, a rich young ruler, a trendsetter, a mover and shaker, young mover and shaker. And he said, "What do I do to inherit eternal life?" Well, sell all you have and give to the poor. And he left Jesus very sad because he couldn't. These are these people. You know, they're sitting there. We're all about elite. Okay, I tell you what. All you Democrats in Congress and all you neocons and all you liberals out there and Mr. Starmer over in the UK in the halls of the uh, Scottish Parliament, Irish Parliament, whatever. You know, just think. Keep 10% of your wealth and give the rest away to those entering into your country in hordes. You pay for them. Put up or shut up. And don't talk to me about equity. You sell it. No, they're not going to do it because it's not about that. It is about group conformity to maintain group control by love bombing you and this group love collectivist mindset. These are the movers and shakers of the world that are doing this. I'm going to go to the next slide here. Treatise on White Magic, Alice Bailey, online PDF, says in 113, the first group works through governments, through politics, through the interplay between nations, is relatively small in number. That's because they have the will to achieve power, the first group. The second ray group, who delude, deceive, work through religious agencies, through mass psychology, and through the misuse and misapplication, devotion of arts, media, entertainment, they are the largest in number. And the third group work primarily through commercial relationships in the business world and through the use of money, the concentration of the universal energy, the outer symbol of the flux and flow. And she goes on, these thoughts are suggestive but not vital in dealing as they do with the cosmic tendencies. You know, talking about people rebelling against them, whatever. But it's this, this is how they do it. They're not upfront about it. They are all about deceiving and deluding. And so this begs a question here I just want to bring up. So what they do is they infiltrate their leaders and initiates into all the cultural mountains of influence, who then work initiating the lower ranks into the Luciferian cult without the people knowing they're even joining a cult. They eventually will dominate the education, psychological, scientific, political, governmental agencies. They'll enter in all the governmental agencies like the military, you know, your intelligence agencies, as well as radio, TV, media, arts, entertainment, music, print. Their ideas are all about changing the nuclear family into the village the village. It takes a village to raise a child model. They control the news. They control health. They control food production. They want to get rid of farms. They are willing to mine for minerals in your country, make these big holes in the ground that'll pollute everything instead of digging for oil because they know best. And they are and the last thing they needed to do, what Alice Bailey bemoaned about, was taking over the financial and business world. That has already happened. You have a small group of people called the WEF that is out there doing this. They have the same ideas. They use the same language as Theosophy does. They have the same goals, the same village. 1+1 = 2. You can go figure out who these people are. But they're not going to, you know, they want us to foot the cost, not them. Okay, for all the changes. Okay, they then they disseminate information to guide those below them to delude, deceive, and misuse and misapply their artistic ability, their music ability. They want to delude and deceive people in religious circles to make good look in evil, and evil look good. What is malevolent and doesn't work looks good, and what's good and functional looks like it won't work. So they're all about changing the nature of reality. They use whatever power is needed to nurture, I should say, crush the opposition, so they can implement their new improved civilization into existence, the ones that delude and deceive and misuse and misapply their callings and what they're supposed misapply their news to be the biggest disinformation and misinformation bunch in the world. They decide what it is, and they want to get rid of free speech, all that. You know the routine. If this world is so great, so good, why do they have to delude, deceive, work through religious agencies, through mass psychology, misuse and misapplication of the devotion of the arts, entertainment? Why do they do that? Why do they need to do that? Why don't they just sell it? This is the perfect world. Because I tell you why. Because people know for a fact, is the answer is simple. People would reject it outright because it's a bunch of bull hockey. One of the roles of the church is to expose such darkness so people can reject it. That's what we are to be as believers. And they infiltrated, as I stated here, and Alice Bailey said, the second ray group who delude, deceive, work through religious agencies. So you have a large segment of the church is dumbed down, and guess what they're doing? They're ignoring all this. They don't know anything about the prophecy of the end times. They're largely ignorant. They're going about as a talked to a pastor today. He said they're all about 7 steps to having a greater and better Thanksgiving dinner. They have sermons like that, and they're not preparing the people, and they're not restraining evil. because this is how Luciferianism works. You sell them a bill of goods, you make them feel good, and you get them all involved in narcissistic self-love and stuff, and you move in and take over. So people would reject this if they would have known. But the church is supposed to be, one of the roles of the church is to expose the darkness so people can reject it. They'll see it. We're called. We are to pray that, and I've been praying for years with many people that what's been going on since 2008 to current will be exposed, and now we're beginning to see it. And that's the job of the church, as it is written in Ephesians chapter 11, Ephesians chapter 5, verse 11, and which states, have no fellowship with the unfruitful works of darkness, but rather expose them. We're called to expose them. By exposing it, we restrain it. God's people are called to push back with God's courage placed inside of us by good preaching that we can do it. We know our authority. We can restrain the evil, push it back, because when we expose it, they begin manifesting themselves in the open, more and more in the open, as it is written in Ephesians chapter 5, verse 13. But all things are exposed, are made manifest by the light, for the whatever makes manifest is the light. It's the light of God, the light of God's word. This brings about a revival call for separation, as it is written in 2 Corinthians chapter 6, verses 14 through 17. Listen to it all. It tells us not to be unequally yoked together with unbelievers. For what fellowship has righteousness with lawlessness? What communion has light with darkness? What accord has Christ with Baal or Satan? Or what part has a believer with an unbeliever? Verse 16, and what agreement has the temple of God with idols? For you are the temple of the living God. As God has said, I will dwell in them and walk among them. I'll be their God, and they shall be my people. Therefore, come out from among them and be separate, says the Lord, and do not touch. It means do not fasten yourself to what is unclean. It doesn't mean touching, it means fastening, holding tight. That's what the Greek word means. To what is unclean, and I will receive you. I will be a father to you, and you shall be my sons and daughters, says the Lord God Almighty. That's written in all caps. I mean, he's shouting it out loud. That is a heavy duty stuff there. So we are called to do that. So I'm going to go back over here to these slides, and I'm going to explain how all this works. Just listen to how it works. Alice Bailey in Externalization of the Hierarchy talks about these seed groups. The objective of the work of these seed groups is to familiarize people with the hierarchical plans as it is working out today in this time of crisis. Crisis after crisis, as Eric Holder says, never let a good crisis go to waste. You have to use crisis after crisis, chaos after chaos to implement plans and to strip people of their rights, okay? A hierarchical plan. We call them seed groups of the new age. They conceal and nurture the germ or seed of the new civilization of the Aquarian age. I'll show you what the Aquarian age is about. The method of communication between members of the hierarchy has to be externalized eventually upon the earth, and this is one of their tasks of the group. So the task of the occultist, Luciferianism, is waiting for the externalization of the hierarchy to appear. Okay? That's what they're talking about. It might be a service to you if I outline more clearly what is the purpose of the new seed groups in terms of the new age civilization and culture, so that practical results might be visioned with clarity and some new ideals emerge as to the quantity of the coming new world order. Let's continue. Alice Bailey in Externalization of the Hierarchy it actually tells us when the externalization of the hierarchy is going to be. Remember, it says the method and communication between the members of the hierarchy has to be externalized eventually upon the earth. Thus, and she writes in Externalization of Hierarchy, page 281, online PDF, thus a great new movement is proceeding and a tremendously increased interplay and interaction is taking place. This will go on until AD 2025. During the years intervening between now and then, very great changes will be seen taking place. I mean, crisis after crisis. And at the great General Assembly of the Hierarchy, held as usual every century in 2025, the date in all probability will be set for the first stage of the externalization of the hierarchy. The present cycle from now until that date is called technically the stage of the forerunner. It is preparatory in nature, testing in its method, intended to be revelatory in its techniques and results. And you see, therefore, the Kohen's master initiates world disciples. They're just a bunch of Luciferians and people who don't know they're being hoodwinked into Luciferian, affiliated with the hierarchy, are all at this time passing through a cycle of great activity. So ask yourself, let's go back to the 1990s, 91, the Rio conference, the building up of Agenda 21, which now became Agenda 2030, which is who doesn't want clean water, clean air? They're using clean water as a clean air to take your rights away from you, and everything you own and possess. So you'll be tagged, tracked, monitored, and surveilled because you are a serf. You need to be you got to teach you right human relationships of group love, not family love, not loving your wife, but the love of the group, the love of the whole, the collective whole. That will be uh, to be enforced group control and maintained by group conformity. Okay. And so why are you seeing all this push for this stuff and all this nonsense? Externalization of hierarchy, page 298, 299, PDF online. Today, human beings as a whole are so loudly invocative, in my notes it means being conjured without even knowing it, that the entire trend of the life of the hierarchy and its plans of date have been subject to change, which, owing to the unexpected preparedness of humanity, can take place not prematurely, really, but securely in the fullness of time. This was written in the mid 40s or late 40s before Alice Bailey died. Just going to let you know that. The fullness of time as regards to particular planning which we are dealing is from now until the year 2025, a brief period of time indeed, which is the consummation and larger purpose of the planetary logos. What's that? You can say it's the seven sages sent to civilize humanity. That four are sent in the abyss, and three others with their proteges are floating around in Shambhala. Used to be a city floating around in, according to Hindu legend, floating around the world. But Alice Bailey says it's under the Gobi Desert. Some people place it under the sea, a city under the sea, cities under the mountains, cities under the desert. Where you see all these lights land into. They call them unidentified flying objects. Just let your mind wander. Number two, it involved a great expansion numerically in the consciousness of the hierarchy. It predicates a great influx of initiates and disciples and a tremendous inflow of what is esoterically called angelic essences from the angelic or diva kingdom, the higher angelic kingdom, under the direction of the certain great angel divas, who have affiliated during the past 200 years with the hierarchy. This again has not been expected so early. Result of this happening has been that the door of initiation through which mankind passes stands wider open, symbolically speaking, than ever before. And at the same time, the masters are who are the masters. The masters are the people behind the all-seeing eye. Okay, on the back of the dollar bill. That's who they are. The result of this happening, um, the masters will pass with great rapidity onto the way of the higher evolution. They move on and become spiritual masters to communicate from the dead. I won't get into all that. This is due to the fact that initiates are fitting themselves so rapidly to take their places, and disciples are moving into initiate positions so fast that the great pressing forward has become illegitimate. What she means is they're moving into the cultural mountains of influence back in the 40s really fast. We see its progression. We see the destruction of manhood beginning back in the 40s after World War II. We don't want no more war. You got to get rid of your testosterone. So you have Superman, you got to have Supergirl, and Supergirl supersedes Superman, and you have to have Batman in the 60s. But you got to get rid of Batman masculinity by having Batgirl who put men in their place. And then you have Charlie's Angels, and you have this, and then you have a Three's Company who puts out this cute little show and slowly breaks you into accepting some type of lifestyle that eventually dresses wild and crazy and wants to read Storybook Hour and the library to your kids, and now they're pushing to alter your kids at younger and younger ages. It's a slow progression. Number three, it involved finally a great awakening in the human family and a major spiritual reorientation. This gain had been believed possible. The gain has been believed possible of accomplishment, but it has already taken place and necessarily has brought about the basic adjustment of the plans of the hierarchy and the renewed emphasis upon the purpose as registered in Shambhala. That song on the road to Shambhala, everybody in a perfect world, you're going to submit to the hierarchy, floating around in this city that's now under the sea or under the mountains, in the front of pit of hell. But I digress. Yeah. What can I say? Let's go to the next page. Whoops, I'm done. I don't want to go to that page yet. So yep, um, that's the whole purpose of this. It's Luciferianism. So we are witnessing the fruit of Luciferianism, as I said last week, in wokeness, in the destruction of our culture, our national heritage, our identity as a people. They did it. They had ample practice times. I just read it to you. They practiced on First Nations people. They hid behind the skirts of Christians. They sinned into the area, so knowing that they'll get massacred or killed, and they can use their deaths to justify taking their land. These people don't play fair, and they don't care. And they have no problem making plans that if any type of event happens in November, it's there on their website. The use of force of an extraordinary degree can be used. And you let your mind wander on that in the United States. I mean, these people they won't stop trying to get rid of number 45. What has he ever done wrong? They call him names, 2 assassination attempts, and they come trying to make themselves look like they're innocent. My, what? What's going on here? These people want to destroy us and reorient us into a collective world of liberal world order or the rules-based world order or whatever order they're going to call it in the future. Okay? So they want to erase our history, erase what it means to be a family, and replace it with another type of where the state is your family. And they want to dumb down your education uh, in order to make little narcissist people they can work through. It's all about censorship. It's all about conformity. These initiated people are in positions of power. What they cannot see is that their Green New Deal, Save the Earth policies, collectivist ideas, increasing the national debts, unchecked migration will lead to utter ruin, deprivation of the entire world, including themselves. They're blind to it. They are enamored with this cult-like devotion to follow. We got to make a perfect world. It doesn't matter the crisis. We can manage the crisis. If you read the book of Revelation, when you delve into the book about the vials of wrath and the bowls of wrath and all that stuff and the judgments that are coming, how much of that God allowed and it was man-made? What's he trying to get across? You think you can control everything? Why do the nations rage and plot a vain thing against the Lord and his anointed, saying, "Let us break and bond their yokes in pieces"? In other words, they don't need his rule and reign anymore. They want to make their own world. Why do you think the Bible talks about that? These initiated people cannot see where their ideas are going to take them. They're vacuous ideas that don't work. And that whenever they're tried, they crashed and burned. And by getting rid of the United States and taking over its wealth is not going to solve the problem. It'll only make other nations rich that you got to eventually take them over for equity's sake. Oh my God. These people are sick. They're insane. They're true believers. That's what they are. So we need to expose this Luciferian philosophy, and we have to expose it because it uses rational, logical, and pragmatic arguments to enchant people to give up their liberty and freedom, exchange for a world of total surveillance. You're marked living in 15-minute cities, censored, silence, and they take total control over your life because you're too dumb to live it. And they can make all things right by teaching, by making you conform to their ideas. So these people think themselves as superior. They're supermen spiritual, and the peons are below. That's what they think. There's a psychological ploy that's used in that happens, that we are warned about working in community corrections and working with inmates and jails and stuff. You don't let power go to your head. But these people don't have any of that type of training, and so the power goes to their head. And you're going right back to age of kings, emperors, speak against the king, get your head chopped off type thing. We're getting there. We're going right back to it. Um, Luciferians all tout about how they're all about making a perfect, a balanced world of balance and plenty and power. They want to. It's all about gaining uh, strength of character. It's all about attaining wisdom. It's all about liberation. It's all about illuminations. It's all about apotheosis, becoming divine. Being godlike because you are your own god and you worship self. You become narcissistic. That's what they do. So Luciferian philosophy makes it sound great by speaking about achieving a higher self-awareness. It's all about improving one's self-esteem, about glorifying self-love. It's all about you, baby. And enters the church. One becomes the Superman. By becoming lovers of self, you do that to improve your self-image. You get in touch with a higher self. You reach your full potential, solving all the social ills. You create peace and safety for all. And what Alice Bailey was saying, what I read to you, is that these people are steeped in the highest order of Luciferian cult, and they really they're initiated to brainwash all humanity to embrace Luciferianism, promises of peace, safety, and a better world with no wars, where love is a love world, and there's no walls, no boundaries, it's everything's blue sky, where people are all bound together by group love, enforced by group control, maintained by group conformity. You all have to think alike. You have to conform to the narrative. Their purpose is to initiate humanity into this Luciferian worldview without anyone realizing it, not even those who are helping them. They think they are helping to build back a better world, a new age of tolerance, whatever, of love, bliss, the utopic bliss. The real destination is hidden from them. They can't see that they'll be giving up all their hopes and dreams. They're making everybody give up their freedoms, their freedom of conscience, freedom to speak their mind. They're giving up debate. You're giving up your national identity, your family history, your nation's history, your personal identity. Um, and the devil's just with sweet sounding lies that kill, rob, and destroy. All they're doing is wanting to take total control over everything. Again, I said this before, is the return of totalitarianism, divine right of kings, emperors of old, dictatorships, fascists, Marxists, it all is there. The ancient pagan religious roots of Gnosticism clarifies the real purpose of Luciferianism. It is the destruction of the materialism of the material world, and defeat the demiurge God, the Judeo-Christian God, chop up his creation through the means of social chaos in order to build back a better world, because all under the control of Lucifer as liberator. And Luciferianism uses very arguments that you hear on TV. You hear them. You hear them in political debates. You hear them from Stammer over in the UK. You'll hear them in Brussels. You'll hear them all over the world. Okay? High sounding words. We're doing this for fairness. We're making things right. It's social justice. We know what we're doing. We're on the right side of humanity. It's for humanity's betterment is why they're doing all this to you. Alexander, I never pronounce his name right, and he wrote a park. Oh, I can't pronounce anything. Alexander Solinsky, in his commencement address of 1978, warned about Western civilization collapsing due to, in modern terms, a growing narcissism and hedonism that leads to rejection of objective truth, that leads to a moral decline in one's courage to resist, into a society without a moral direction, thus becomes sheeple for the state, and you're right for a dictatorship. And he was warning people back in 1978. Um, the Gulag Archipelago. That's what he wrote. He wrote the Gulag He came out of Soviet Union, out of a gulag, and he is addressing the warning about communism. But here he's warning to the West: you're being hoodwinked. You're going down the same path. Back in 1978, um, and the Luciferian quest also collapses social cohesion by initiating narcissism and hedonism into the masses of humanity as a new norm. Um, as I stated before, the first casualty of war is truth, and to combat the taking of truth, you need to wear the belt of truth, as Ephesians 6:12 says, 6:18. Take up the belt of truth, God's truth. Why is there a war on truth? Why do they want to change truth? Because is truth is the is the standard by which you measure reality. Truth is the standard by which you measure reality. Is tested and it's measured. Okay, Luciferian attacks truth and reality itself, and in their view, your reality, like I said before, is materialistic, made up by the demiurge god to entrap and enslave humanity into it. So Lucifer is all about liberation, so it must go. Truth must go, and all human reliance on truth must go, like fossil fuels, growing one's own food, giving up free speech, open borders. You have to give up to open borders. You have to give up your gender roles. Reality is turned totally upside down. Roosters can now lay eggs, and and chickens can make roosters pregnant. And it's like that's total denying of reality. And even though you have DNA that can prove gender, who you are gender wise, that's out the door. It's what you think now. See, it is an attack. Luciferianism is an attack on reality. It robs you as Christians and us as Christians and conservatives and everybody else their courage to resist, because people believe this and you feel helpless to fight it, and if you fight it, they throw you in jail. They'll attack you. I don't want to tell you folks, you're going to be pushed into a corner, your back's going to be against the wall, and you're going to be placed in a place like they were when the Soviet Union fell. They had no choice. How do you overcome it? Through comedy. You make fun of these people, like the Saturday night, was it Saturday? Yeah, Saturday Night Live. So I have a speech impediment problem, and sometimes I roll my words too much. Saturday Night Live skit with Miss Harris in it. That was hilarious. That was hilarious. I saw a news clip of that. I couldn't stop laughing. Um, that's how you overcome them. I mean, a little bit of humor. I digress. So, so for the Luciferian mindset, absolute truth and reality is archaic and it has to change. They will slowly dismantle objective truth and exalt their subjective idealism to find and achieve liberation from the material world, and how to be eventually rode back to pure spirit being. See, they're on this Luciferian quest to return you back to the mind of Lucifer. Okay, that's exactly what this is about. And if you knew what they believed, you wouldn't want these people in charge of a toy battleship in a bathtub. These people are nuts. But that's what they believe. They want to give everybody back into this reality. So they use whatever means necessary. They use spiritualized coercion to make you feel guilty on the inside that your Judaic Christian values is a cover for social oppression because you are an oppressor. So you oppress some oppressed group somewhere, or your ancestors do, so you have to pay it back for equity's sake. Not the elites, you. Not their families who caused all the damage in the first place. It's the oppressed versus the oppressor. Anything that is in reality whole, healthy, harmonious, beautiful, biologically DNA proven gender is now threatening because it is oppressing another class of people. So woke activism and works off this type of ideology. Cultural Marxism. I was in college and I was an older age student, and that's what I had to read was a lot of cultural Marxist stuff. And social work was not about helping people; it was about being agents for social change, or in the terms of the '60s, a communist agitator, or better yet, like Barack Hussein Obama, a community organizer. Well, I didn't swallow the Kool-Aid. I argued with my professors. So what could I say? Um, it's pure spiritual coercion to make you feel guilty. They next thing they want to do is promote narcissism and make you self-aware of self. You are it. You're the top dog. You are more than a bag of chips. You're a giant bag of chips among the little chips. You are your boss. You are the king of your hill. You know, you are you, and you. It's all about self-love, self-expression, exploring your inner being, going and all that other stuff. And so this creates what I shared last week is a erotic narcissism. This is exactly what Solinsky was talking about, warning people about this erotic narcissism of self-love and adult. And it's so erotic about loving yourself. Have you ever met any true Luciferians? They're all about loving themselves. They're looking in their camera. I'm not talking about guys looking in their cameras or mirrors and prancing around and stuff. And uh, um, it's an amazing thing to see. And very narcissistic. Um, so, so that's what they do. Such self-love is viewed as politically liberating because it helps combat what they view as the oppressors, who are the God, the Bible, Christians, Jews, conservatives, libertarians, all fair-minded people, by making them kowtow to newer, more contrived, oppressed classes of humanity. So you give up your courage to fight back. Narcissism is also used to break law-abiding, healthiest society asunder by making self-love supreme. And you have to sacrifice and pay back through self-love uh, by letting people who got in this country illegally in. So that the chief ruling oligarchy of narcissists, the WEF and whatever, achieve control over the lives of the people by making them feel good, powerful, dominant, like they do. It's all about self-love. It's about positive self-esteem. When I was in college and I go to teachers practicum, and they were talking about uh, we cannot let little Johnny uh, and Susie and Bill get first place. The people who got last place deserve first place too. So everybody gets first place prizes. Everybody's is the winner. That is what I'm talking about. And so these plans are esoterically, I'm going to go a little longer tonight, folks, so you can break this up. These plans are esoterically seen in their writings as 7 rays or energies of initiation, the 3 rays of aspect, 4 rays of attribute. They are revealed in the 4 pillars of Luciferianism, of power, balance, strength, and wisdom, as well as Luciferian's triad of the morning star of liberation, illumination, apotheosis. So let me go back to these things and explain what these are. The 7 rays of initiation involve 3 rays of aspect and 4 rays of attribute. These are also seen in Theosophy's rays of initiation and the 7 root rays theory. The 4 pillars of Luciferianism, which are about achieving power, balance, and strength and wisdom, and in their triad of the morning star, which is about achieving liberation, illumination, and apotheosis from the morning star Lucifer. So what are the 4 pillars in the triad of morning star? To put it bluntly, in simplest terms, involves receiving the devil's illumination, secret esoteric knowledge from the hierarchy of his fallen spiritual minions, needed to trick, deceive Luciferian followers on earth. Cult-like, it makes them think they're improving the world, causing them to ignore the robbery, murdering, destruction their ideas bring to a country and society. They're on a quest to better the world. No time for reality, because reality is a lie. The only subjective reality is implanted in their mind. That's what matters. So chop God's material world up and build it back better. So the rays of aspect, there's 3 rays of aspect, along with his 4 rays of ability, uses the language of the 4 pillars and the triad of the morning star is my point. And I have them listed in blue here. The first ray of initiation is the energy of will to achieve power. This through illumination to liberate the world. How to develop an extremist individualism and narcissism justified by a pseudo-altruism that promises unbridled autonomy, peace, security, wealth achieved by ruthless power that controls all humanity for humanity's, whoops, I spelled that wrong, humanity's best interest at heart, defined by them, of course. The second ray of our energy of initiation is love and wisdom, which is all about improving one's improvement, developing a deeper sense of improving a balanced self-love by means of self-actualization, loving devotion to connect with spiritual hierarchy or Lucifer himself. It's a higher spirituality. It's really heady thinking of yourself. It's all about group love, group conformity, group control. It's all about the group. It's all about you, baby, because if everybody thought like you as a narcissist, this would be a better world. That's what they're thinking, folks. If everybody was a narcissist and thought like the hierarchy and thought like Lucifer, we'll have a perfect world. So get with love is love, okay? And have love and wisdom. Energy of love and the wisdom how to use love in the wrong way to make narcissist, okay? The energy of active intelligence, that's the third ray of initiation, involves strengthening the collective mind. So there you have in the four pillars of Luciferianism, strengthening the collective mind, okay, of all humanity. Everyone becomes one mind, one spirit to strengthen society, unite culture to world collectivism, all unified to the spirit and mind of Lucifer, the Christ consciousness, as Alice Bailey would say. Let's continue. Let's keep, you're going to see this stuff. I'm going to go to the 7 root races that correlates to this. The ray of aspect correlates to the root race theory. The ray of will to achieve power produces spiritual coercion to get what one wants. It's power to be divine. It's a narcissistic power. The first root race describes human beings in a pure, transitory spiritual state, in a protective bubble protected by spiritual beings who seek to awaken their consciousness. The will to achieve power. It's called the Polarian age. Don't let the Polarian age, Hyborian age, Lumerian age throw you. They'll get you off on a rabbit trail. What that's saying is that you were once pre-existing spiritual entities bubbling around in Lucifer's mind. In order to become a pure spirit being, you're going to climb back up into the mind of Lucifer and come into your pure spirit state with the spiritual hierarchy protecting you. However, the reality is you're going to be swimming laps in the lake of fire with the devil if you keep following him. But I digress. But I just thought it was interesting. The ray of love, wisdom, a narcissistic self-love that makes one feel connected, in charge. Remember, narcissism destroys society. Everybody's a narcissist, so a narcissist could all coalesce and think narcissistically. We'd all get along. Joke's on you, buddy. You haven't worked in a jail. or in a I mean, you haven't worked in a jail and you haven't worked in a halfway house with juvies or juveniles, as we call them. We call them juvies, but juveniles. You haven't worked in a, oh boy, oh boy. Um, and that destroys God's design for love, his role of love, exchanging it for collectivized group love needed for group control, connecting to spirits via sex magic used to increase one's livelihood to attain power over your foes. The second root race stage is where humans beings still do not have physical bodies, but here the hierarchy develops. What am I talking about? The demiurge came and stole the spiritual entities, humanity, the pre-existent, and stole them. And um, so the hierarchy was out there trying to help bring them back before the demiurge made them into material flesh and blood beings. Okay, so in order to combat the demiurge, they want to do this. The hierarchy helps develop a sense of touch in both the physical and divine spirit world. Here, one gains secret revelations from the fallen hierarchy, how to develop love, wisdom, and understanding needed to change the world, known as the Hyborian age. It is of narcissistic self-love. And so, in order to get back to the Luciferian mindset, where he wants you in the lake of fire with him, I mean, in his mind and heart, in that pre-existent state, uh, you have to connect with the hierarchy. Okay. The ray of activity and adaptability in activating human intelligence to live subjectively, reject objective reality, exchanging for higher sense of light, illumination, a new way to think for an entire population. The third root race stage of initiation involves developing the mind principle to reach the higher universal mind for guidance. This involves developing a sense of sight, illumination, in order to activate the collective human intelligence into accepting being controlled. Used to housebreak humanity. It's called the Lumerian Age, because in the Lumerian Age, it was the human beings were androgynous. They had a third eye on their head. And the Demiurge says, "I want to make you a male and female during the Lumerian Age." And so now they want to bring male and female and androgyny back, because androgyny, according to the theosophy, is to become divine, and you need to worship the androgynous. We're seeing any of that lately. So they're going back up the back way, so that's what they're doing. And yeah, so let's go on and go through this really quickly. Um, the four pillars of Luciferianism and the triad of morning star. Uh, these are seen in the seven rays of initiation and root race stage theory, used also to help carry out Lucifer's war against God. His design and his order. The seven rays energy of initiation consist of the four rays of attribute. It's the divine feminine, Sophia, wisdom, chaos, severity, justice, glamour, primarily used in black magic to promote materialism and develop hate for it as well, hate to it as well. So they do these four rays of energy here. This is the lunar, the divine feminine. Through this Sophia wisdom, you create chaos. The fourth ray energy of harmony and balance through conflict. Purpose is to alter humanity, family, society, culture through initiating chaos by diluting enchantment slogans. Think of brainwashing to achieve a brand new, perfectly ordered world. So the ray, or the fourth ray of energy, is of initiation. The fourth ray of initiating energy is of harmony and balance. You look up at the four pillars of Lucifer. It's about balance, harmony, balance. You see it? No difference. All this connects. The ray energy, or the initiating energy of concrete knowledge, is the fifth ray of knowledge, science, education, planning that uses wisdom for forming groups, leaders forming plans, steering groups needed to educate all humanity on the need for liberation. That's the triad of the morning star. Okay? All right? And I'm going to skip reading that. I'm going to go to the root ray stages so you can see it. The fourth ray of initiation of harmony through conflict. You make order out of chaos. Black and white magic are used for this purpose. I'll talk about that next week, if the Lord's willing, or the next time I'm on. To create tension amongst people, races, with promises of liberation and freedom from all the problems and injustices of the world. The fourth root race, according to H.P. Blavatsky and Theosophy, marks the period with the greatest development of the physical body, speech, and communication has been. It's called the Atlantean Age. And the occultic history is when mankind, the Atlantean race, became tall with materialistic pride. They helped create the monsters and learned the art of sorcery and became wicked, then followed the great flood. To make things right involves creating a new spiritual order out of the chaos by destroying the material world of the Judaic Christian God. So order through chaos, you heard it through before, and I think it was Aleister Crowley or whoever said it, they, order of the new golden dawn, or whatever it was. You got order out of chaos. It goes way back before the hills, and back when the devil rebelled, he had this idea of creating order out of chaos. So they want to return to mankind into the Atlantean race with materialistic pride. Why? Black magic wants you to exalt your materialistic pride so you learn to hate it. So the Atlantean age was all about exalting your materialistic pride, and now to make things right, you got to hate it. And so they're teaching you in this stage to hate materialism. Relatively simple. It doesn't take rocket science to figure this out. The fifth ray of concrete knowledge or science, or the initiation, uses concrete knowledge and science, using logic, reason, combining these into spell casting, enchantments, and divination through the environment and health issues, is what to look for in this stage. Means to bring the system down, destroy family, alter God's creative order and design, destroy who we are as a people, destroy our national history. Who we are is also involved in this age. So the fifth root ray stage is modern humanity. During this stage, humanity develops a sense of smell, aka known as discernment, and how to use concrete knowledge, science, intellect, health to bring about liberation from the material world, and how to dismantle it properly and build it back better. Sets forth concrete plans, forms agendas, and develops leaders and groups. According to H.P. Blavatsky, this is where we're at now. According to Edgar Casey's prophecy, the fifth root race ends in 1998 to about 2015. The sixth root race age will overlap that, and the fifth root race will stretch into it for a bit, and there'll be an age of constant turmoil and chaos. And when the step from into the sixth root race stage is marked by this remarkable acceptance of androgyny as the new norm that you better adhere to, or else it's curtains. Are you seeing any of that? Why? Do you notice that started happening, not that long ago, around 2008-ish, but then it really picked up by 2012, then it really picked up just recently even more. To now it's an accepted or else proposition attached to it. How else do you explain what you're seeing? You're seeing Luciferianism at work. You might think it's just some cult that it doesn't mean anything and all this is who we believe. But this goes beyond what people are talking about, political ideologies, because Luciferianism contains many and mucho political ideologies of totalitarianism, totalitarian democracy. When your liberals and your progressives talk about saving democracy, they mean totalitarian democracy, not republic democracy like a free speech. We have a natural bill of rights. No, they want to destroy that. That's materialistic. They want you spiritual, because they are spiritual people. They're going back into the mind of Lucifer, floating around in nirvana. They're going to be living a perfect world. And when you die, you'll reincarnate. And if you resist them and fight them, you reincarnate in bliss and say, "Oh, thank you for killing me. Now I can get to eat all the pie too now, Eat heavenly pie." Oh my God, these people are sick. The fifth root race, it's all about that. So let's go over here to the ray energy of illumination, devotion, idealism okay. So the sixth ray of illumination, or the sixth root ray stage as well, involves energy, illumination, devotion to idealism of a progressive socialist, totalitarian, Marxist, fascist, divine right of kings, ruling oligarchy ideologies to bring forth a new age utopia, along with a coming world leader needed to cement it all to Lucifer. The seventh ray of initiation is ceremonial order, using ritual magic, producing new forms of civilization to reach a state of pure spirit being, reaching apotheosis for mankind. Apotheosis means to achieve perfect form, the highest, best part of something, as well as the means, the process of elevation into a divine status or deification, and in Luciferians, human beings become God. Noah Harari's book, Homo Deus, illustrates this concept. So, what does all this mean? Let's go look at the root race. The ray of abstract idealism devotion is no need for basics for education like reading, writing, mathematics, logic, and reason. No, you need to dumb down the population so they are more easily controlled. This involves altruistic promises, ideas, so all submit to a totalitarian form of government. They don't want to teach reading, writing, arithmetic. They don't want to teach logic. They don't want to teach history. They want to destroy it. They want to teach you cultural studies and diversity and inclusion and rewriting your history. Instead, they want to dumb you down because you will be very easily controlled. Look at the sixth root race marks the ascending stage of humanity to achieve paradise on earth, a time of rapid increases in knowledge, technology, occult illumination that guides human devotion to its abstract idealism, such as the Christ consciousness, collectivism, to make people a controlled and directed personality of group control, group love. In the first seven substages, androgyny is brought forth as a war club to bash all social norms into compliance with Luciferian idealism and devotion. That's a lot to say. I just given you the bullet points of this. There's a lot here. I'm only giving you my definition through condensed Reader's Digest quickie version of it. The seventh ray of ceremonial magic or law is seen when paganism and its dark arts finally line up so that humanity is liberated back to pure spirit beings. The material world is destroyed. The seventh race is defined as a time when humans, enlightened leaders, use occultic arts and divination to influence the greatest flood of human disciples to come under direct governance of the top seven fallen watchers to decree karmic justice for all. That's their belief, not mine. I mean, that's what they believe. In a nutshell, the final stage of absolute upheaval and chaos is used to make a new spiritual order. The demonic plan involves initiating people into groups of controlled and directed personalities who work together to bring about a new order for the age, a new golden dawn, a new age. The very few at the top, under the illumination, illuminating all, the devil has favored their undertakings to use the bricks below to build a new order of the age. It's all there. What can I say? And what does okay? So the sixth ray, what you're going to see is a justification of idealism of the progressive, socialistic, totalitarian, Marxist, fascist, divine right of kings, a ruling oligarchy to bring forth a new age utopia, coming world leader into the stage to make all this happen. Why? Because they want to get you back. And you actually go in reverse. So you go in reverse, I'll go in reverse on this one. So you have the energy, the initiating energy of ceremonial order and witchcraft. They want to help you get devoted to this idealism of this collectivism. They want to use concrete science plans and form guilds and groups to carry it out. They want to use harmony through conflict to alter the human family, society, and culture. And then you climb back up to the energy of active intelligence. You get into the gel with the mind of Lucifer, the Christ consciousness. Then you get love, wisdom, love, and devotion to the hierarchy, Lucifer, and self-love, narcissism, and then you're ready to receive the will, the purpose, or power to carry forth the will of Lucifer. Okay, what's that? The first root race describes human beings in a pure spirit, transitory earth real protected bubble, protected by spiritual beings. Get you back there. So you're climbing out of the pit, and the people who are leading the way, whoops, I'll go down here, are ceremonial magic and laws seen in paganism to liberate humanity back to a pure spirit state. These people are sick. This is what they believe. And it's all, most of them, you don't know who they are. And a lot of them don't even know that this is what they believe. This sounds good. We're creating a perfect world. As a young little kid, I used to like the Rockefeller Foundation. I thought they did great things at a Rockefeller Performing Arts, wherever that building was in D.C. And I thought, wow, humanitarian aid and learning about other societies and accepting cultures and all that. It's a smokescreen. I find out what the Rockefeller Foundation is really about. That's a smokescreen. Luciferianism is about narcissism, dumbing down a population, be easily controlled, directed personalities, altered, change. The ultimate goal is in the sixth and seventh root race stages, is to in the rays of initiation, to change humanity, alter humanity, and form a new civilization, a new humanity 2.0, 3.0. Jesus says, as it was in the days of Noah. What happened in the days of Noah? The Nephilim came, and the result of, and fallen watcher and human hybrids. We have externalization of the hierarchy. They predicted by the 2025. We are now in the year 2025, according to the correlated to the Hebrew calendar, which would be this year, would be October, begins October. We're in it. What does the externalization of the hierarchy mean? Externalization of hierarchy means their ideas, plans, and schemes will be seen in fruition. They'll be pushing for globalization, global government, global control, for building AI systems that can surveil, track, tag, and monitor everything you do, where you go, how far you drive. You drive too much, take too much gas, they'll cut you off. Total absolute control, because you're a dumb serf. You're taking from those who have not, and you got to give it back. But the elites don't give anything, because they're the enlightened ones. They're the masters. And we're the serfs. See where this heads? It doesn't bode well. When I read the book of Revelation, when I read it, when I get there and I read it, I'm shocked. I understand a lot more of it than I did before, and I've studied it, how many years now? 20, so 44 years or so, something like that. And it makes more sense to me now after I study what's. This is what happened to me. The Bible says this in this book of Psalms. This was an intriguing psalm. I kept just on my eye focused on it for years, and I'm turning to it right now. It's Psalms 2, and I still pulling nuggets out of it, of truth that I never thought I'd ever see before. But this is what intrigues me the most. I'll read it out of the New King James. Why do the nations rage and the people plot a vain thing? The kings of the earth set themselves, and rulers take counsel together. These are most likely apt to be followers of Lucifer. I'm sorry. I mean, they are. Because they achieved to put into humanity the will to achieve power, dominance, control. Okay? Distort truth, whatever, reality, to do it. And the rulers take counsel together against the Lord, against his anointed, saying, let us break their bonds in pieces and cast away their cords from us. When you look at the ancient Mesopotamian propaganda and their religious propaganda, Marduk shoots his arrow, his progeny, or his mace, or his spear, or whatever they represent, and they're secret weapons to destroy the chaos monster, the creator of the universe. We got to get rid of the person who created chaos. That's the Judaic Christian God. I mean, that's Jesus right there. If Jesus is the one who created, let's chop up his order and design in little pieces and build it back better. We get rid of chaos. We control chaos. We control the world. When you read the book of Job, that did not happen. The Leviathan was not chopped up in pieces. The Lord has them under wraps. According to the book of Job, that's what I'm talking about. But he who sits in the heavens shall laugh. That's God. And Yahweh or Jehovah shall hold them in derision. He shall speak to them in his wrath and distress them in his deep displeasure. Yet I've set my king on my holy hill, Mount of Zion. I'll declare a decree. The Lord said to me, you are my son, today I've begotten you. Ask of me, and I'll give you the nations for your inheritance, and the ends of the earth for your possessions. You shall break them with a rod of iron, and shall dash them with the pieces like potter's wheel. You know what the Lord's saying? That's the Father talking to Jesus. And he's saying, these people are trying to take what I made in your inheritance, which is us, who are born again, who return to him voluntarily. He's not a slave to our free moral will to get off that horse. He just simply gave us a choice when we had none. And he can't help but being all knowing and knowing all things. So he knows the result of his word will have on you, because it creates a choice. And he can dispense with you, do with you however he so wills after that. If you never will get born again or saved, you can become a Pharaoh. He can dispense with you and make you a public example for everybody to marvel at and not want to be like. It's not too hard, based on God's foreknowing all things. But he still grants a choice, so nobody can ever say that God is unfair or never does anything right. You can't stand up and say, God, you made me thus, you made me a sinner, you made me this way, you caused me to fall away, you predestined me. That is hogwash. He can't help know that you would never, ever darken the door or ever come to him unless he gave you a choice. He gave us choices in the Garden of Eden how to use our dominion correctly, reflecting his character traits of love, joy, peace, goodness, righteousness, holiness, so forth, etc. The attributes of God, and how we govern our world and our families. What a place it would be if we did that, stayed with that, threw that away. Mankind did. And he still, before that, he gave choice to name animals. So he gave them a choice again in the Garden of Eden after they fell. Where are you? So he's asking you right now, where are you? Where are you? Where are you? Where are you hiding? Time to come out. You'll know if you'll come out or not come out. I want you to see that you ain't all that in a bag of chips. I'd rather be with the Lord than with the ways of the world and these people who plot vain things. They want to chop up God's order and design. God's mocking them. He sits in heaven. He holds them with derision. He speaks to them in his wrath. Wow. Hallelujah. Now, therefore, be wise, O kings. Be instructed, you judges of the earth. This is talking about the millennial kingdom now. Serve the Lord with fear and rejoice with trembling. Okay? Why is that? You guys didn't listen too well, but now you're going to have another chance. Learn to respect God and hold that dear to you. Learn some respect. Kiss the Son, lest you be angry, and you perish in the way, when his wrath is kindled but a little while. Blessed are those who put their trust in him. There's a commentary that I read someplace about this verse, and I don't remember what commentary it was. I don't know how he did it, but he correlated it to when Satan is released for 1,000 years. When he comes, for his wrath is kindled but for a little while. I don't know if that's true, but it made a good commentary piece anyway. And I kind of think that it makes more sense that way, because the devil will be released and there's no helpers. He doesn't have his hierarchy. He doesn't have any fallen watchers to help him. He's running amok on the earth one last time. Why the millennial reign of Christ? Well, all the promises God gave to the Hebrew people will come to pass. What God speaks, he'll come to pass. God says, I made a people for myself. That was humanity. Humanity fell, so he made a people out of humanity for himself called the Hebrew people. From then, he made Christians being able to be grafted in to the people of God. And so, all you have to do is put your faith and trust in what he did on the cross. You do not deserve salvation, but he offered it through great grace and great love and compassion, because he loved us so much that he died in our place through the Son's work, dying in our place, bearing the wrath of God in our place, so we don't have to. I'm trying to remember how Charles Stanley said that. He said it better than I just did. I kind of chopped it up and may not made it too good, okay? Let me try to go say it again. Yeah, well, I'll just leave it at that, because I guess it's good enough. But anyway, I don't want to take any more time now. An hour and a half is probably too long. I got off a rough start with the crashes and the losing the stream. And after I prayed, I don't think we lost the stream. And if I have to redo this video again, I'll redo it, but I will try to edit it if it's too messed up. With that, I want to just remind you all that if you'd like to contact me or support what I do, my books are there. Land Unknown, Hell's Dominion, Heaven Beckons is all there. I would love to hear from you, an email. Sometimes I can't answer all the emails, but if you'd like to support me, what I do, yeah, I always appreciate it. I want to thank everybody who has supported me. It is much appreciated in a time like this, when after your spouse dies. My wife died August 23rd, and the bills keep coming on in, and it gets worrisome sometimes. And how, what are you gonna do? You're just standing, you're here alone. And so, if you'd like to support what I do, I just pray for me as well, because it's pretty heavy by yourself, and the woman you love is gone, and the one you want to spend your life with. So again, if you want to support what I say or do, and there's my addresses there, email addresses to work through. My 2 books, buy any of those, buy extra copies, give out. My email address is there. After Hours Ministries is, I'm trying to get enough money to saved up so I can get a fancy website. But the problem is when I get it done, I have to have the finances in order to pay for it. That's another thing. But it really doesn't cost that much. But it really doesn't. I can't remember how much a year it would cost, but it's not that much. But when you had a funeral cost, um, burial plots, um, unintended expenses that I'm still getting a charge from the funeral home, a small charge. I didn't even believe where did this come from. It come from the cemetery plot people who dug a hole or something. They added $30 to it or something, and I got to go pay that. It never ends. I'm telling you, it never ends. I'm not hurting for money by a long shot, but it's just that it's just that you don't have the other half that managed the books and managed everything, and we worked very well together, and we balanced each other out. We never overspent. We always kept things within reason. Now I got to do it all, and I haven't done that in years. I haven't been a bachelor for what in 36 years. This is all new to me, and I don't like it. I don't like it a bit. But anyway, stuff in my belly aching. If you like to support what I do, you do. But if you don't, that's fine. I'll let God put on your heart. But just know that I will never call you asking for money. I'll never email you asking for money. And if anyone does, that's not me. So with that, I'll just see if anybody's left watching this, if I didn't bore you too much. So let's look if anybody's on the live chat just for a few minutes. Yeah. Joe, you're right. They won't eat the bugs, but they'll force us to. They are wicked people. That's right. RVC says it's all about manipulation and taking what is evil and trying to twist it to appear as something good. That's the purpose of divination. You define divination pretty well in that. It's about manipulation. Enchantment is a good definition. This is a good definition of enchantment as a manipulation of taking what is evil and trying to twist it as appeared as something as good. I'm getting tongue-tied here. Yeah, this is an amazing thing. This this way it appears is not brainwashing, and most people don't even know what's going on, and it is sad. That's why uh, when they infiltrated the churches, I'll talk about how they infiltrated the churches later. And it's sad to see the infiltration, and we see it right now through wokeism in the church, seeker-sensitive stuff, things like that, and it weakens the church. So they're not. They're all about. I want to talk about Bible prophecy, what's going on, or warning people, or holding back evil. It's all about how to decorate your um, Thanksgiving table for when your family comes, and how to have friendly conversations. Something like that, some type of sermon like that, or 10 steps to easy living, 5 steps how to become a better you, how to do spiritual push-ups and get your gets with God, whatever. You let your imagination roll. So people are distracted, so they don't see the sucker punch coming. And let people read this. Yep, I don't think so either. I think it will drag on for months. I actually do. This is a good point. Faith in His grace makes. Satan is attacking us a certain way, but he's controlling the people of China another way. He's controlling the Arabs a whole nother way. That's right. The whole world is under the sway of the evil one. Think about that. And I don't have, I'll talk about white magic, black magic. soon, how they are used to pit things like countries against each other like this in order to create um, the death of materialism, capitalism, and us as the material world, so they can get a pure spirit state. And why do you think the Shiite belief system about the Mahdi, and they want the destruction of the entire world? They want Armageddon to happen. Now you have it getting ready to be played out. They want nuclear war. Wow, that means the seventh root race stage is already here, and everybody will be pure spirit. Not so. Not everybody's going to be pure spirit. The ones their spirits are not pure will be with the devil swimming laps in the lake of fire. But I digress. But it's amazing. I trust and thank the Lord He's in charge of all this, and He knows what's going on. He knows how to deal with the evil one, how to deal with the hierarchy and the devils. And He ordained us to exercise authority and power over them. I thank Him for that. Of course, we're not subject to these things. Yeah, they can attack us. They can do things against us. But, the Lord God Almighty wins in the end. We have heaven. We have heaven. Read my book, Heaven Beckons, if you want to know a little bit more about heaven. There are some other books I'll suggest about heaven as well, upcoming. I agree, the fear of the Lord needs to return. The highly respecting and being awed by the Lord, and also know that He's bigger than you, needs to return. Fear of the Lord doesn't mean that God has a baseball bat looking at everything you do to smack you over the head. Ancient pagan religions teach that. If you do some rituals, then you cannot get hit over the head so much. Paganism infiltrated the church world and taught that mode into the church, sadly, instead of true fear of the Lord. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. It really is. To fear God and do what He says, And it's not a baseball bat, I'll crush you and beat you to death if you don't. You're under grace. He will say, okay, what did you learn, you dummy? You didn't listen to me. You wandered away. And what's it like eating pig slop? Come back. Let's just get it right this time. That's how God rolls. So I can respect Him because how he is and what He does. And I'll talk more about what the fear of the Lord is on the Bible study that I'm doing here, as well as some other things. Yeah. Kong says, starting to believe that when God told Adam and Eve to be fruitful and multiply, that they were to grow the fruits of the Spirit as they multiplied. You're right. You're right. Most people miss that. I'll give you a pat on the back on that one. You're right. See, in the New Testament, after new birth and receiving Christ into your life through the new birth, the Holy Spirit takes up residence inside of you. Okay, and you're filled with the Holy Spirit by the Holy Spirit indwelling in you and keeping your sanity and who you are intact too, because very respectful. But you're to live by the fruit of the Spirit, walk by the fruit of the Spirit, live by the fruit of the Spirit. Why? Because it goes back to the garden. That's how we are to exercise dominion and authority. That's what it means to be in God's image and likeness, to reflect His character traits, who He is and what He's like onto the world. Not as a mean ogre, but of one who loves, joy, peace, goodness, mercy, truth. Also chastening too, but in a good sense, not to destroy, but to bring you back and correct you. God doesn't want you playing in the middle of the street. He doesn't want you playing in a viper's den. He doesn't want you to drink deadly things like that that are under the cabinet of your kitchen sink. He puts boundaries up. We do that to our own kids. God's loving boundaries are great. Climate activists are the ones very against the Judeo-Christian values are going to fall into the Antichrist. Yeah, many of them but some of them will come out of it when they get older, something they grow out of eventually. Well, folks, with that, I'm going to go ahead and end this stream. Went a little too long, a little long-winded. I started getting off on some rabbit trails. I apologize. I lost the stream a few times. With that, you guys be blessed in Jesus' name.